וישכם לבן בבוקר, וינשק לבניו ולבנותיו, ויברך אתהם, וילך וישוב לבן למקומו. ויעקב הלך לדרכו, ויפגעו בו מלאכי אלוהים. ויאמר יעקב כאשר רעם, מחנה אלוהים זה, ויקרא שם המקום ההוא מחניים. וישלח יעקב מלאכים לפניו אל עשיו אחיו ארצה שעיר שדה אדום. ויצב אותם לאמור, כה תאמרו לאדוני לעשיו, כה אמר עבדך יעקב, עם לבן גרתי, ואיחר עד עתה. ויהי לי שור וחמור, צאן ועבד ושפחה, ואשלחה להגיד לאדוני, למצוא חן בעיניך. וישובו המלאכים אל יעקב לאמור, באנו אל אחיך אל עשיו, וגם הולך לקראתך 400 איש עמו. וירא יעקב מאוד, ויצר לו, ויחף את העם אשר איתו ואת הצאן ואת הבקר והגמלים לשני מחנות. ויאמר, אם יבוא עשיו אל המחנה האחד והיכהו, והיה המחנה הנשאר לפלטה. ויאמר יעקב, אלוהי אבי אברהם ואלוהי אבי יצחק, אדוני האומר אלי, שוב לארצך ולמולדתך, ואיטיבה עמך. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת, אשר עשית את עבדך. כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן הזה, ועתה הייתי לשני מחנות. הצילני נא מיד אחי מיד עשיו, כי ירא אנוכי אותו, פן יבוא והיכני אם על בנים. ואתה אמרת היטב איטיב עמך, ושמתי את זרעך כחול הים, אשר לא יספר מרוב. וילן שם בלילה ההוא, ויקח מן הבא וידו מנחה לעשיו אחיו, עזים 200 ותיישים 20, רחלים 200 ואלים 20, גמלים מניקות וביניהם 30, פרות 40 ופרים 10, אתונות 20, ועיירים 10. וייתן ביד עבדיו עדר לבתו, ויאמר אל עבדיו, עברו לפני, ורווח תשימו בין עדר ובין עדר. ויצב את הראשון לאמור, כי יפגושך עשיו אחי, ושאלך לאמור, למי אתה ואנה תלך, ולמי אלה לפניך? ואמרת לעבדך ליעקב, מנחה היא שלוחה לאדוני לעשיו, והנה גם הוא אחרינו. ויצב גם את השני, גם את השלישי, גם את כל ההולכים אחרי העדרים לאמור, כדבר הזה תדברון אל עשיו, במוצאכם אותו. ואמרתם גם, הנה עבדך יעקב אחרינו, כי אמר אכפרה פניו במנחה ההולכת לפני, ואחרי כן אראה פניו, אולי יישא פני. ותעבור המנחה על פניו, והולן בלילה ההוא במחנה. ויקום בלילה ההוא, ויקח את שתי נשיו, ואת שתי שפחותיו, ואת 11 ילדיו, ויעבור את מעבר יבוק. ויקחם, ויעבירם את הנחל, ויעבר את אשר לו. ויוותר יעקב לבדו, ויאבק איש עמו עד עלות השחר. וירא כי לא יכול לו, ויגע בכף ירחו, ותקע כף ירך יעקב בהיאבקו עמו. ויאמר, שלחני כי עלה השחר, ויאמר, לא אשלחך כי אם ברכתני. ויאמר אליו, מה שמך? ויאמר יעקב. ויאמר, לא יעקב יאמר עוד שמך, כי אם ישראל, כי שרית עם אלוהים ועם אנשים ותוכל. וישאל יעקב ויאמר,
Salam alaikum. Peace unto the family. This is Rabbi Balahi Salam. This is another edition of Torah Teachings. This teaching today talks about Bereshit 32, or as we know it, Genesis chapter 32. In this chapter, the context of the text is relaying the story of Jacob and the name change to Israel. And what was the meaning and the reason why Jacob's name was changed to Israel, or what we believe the name is Israel? Is I will break down the fact that the true name of Jacob was not Israel as we speak it today. It's a little more complex than that. I also want to deal with the discussion of what is Israel and who are Israel and what makes you Israel. These are very important factors to be analyzed when placing a label on yourself and saying, this is who I am. I am Israel. I am an Israelite. But what does that mean? And what should that mean to the person that you're telling it to? What idea should the person opposite of you have when you say, I am Israel? What message are you conveying to them by telling them that name? That's the discussion today. Now, the audio in the beginning of the video was the Yiddish language of Genesis 32. In Genesis 32, starts off with Jacob meeting an angel of God. And upon meeting this angel of God, Jacob saw them and said, this is God's host. And named that place Mahanaim. At that very same time, Jacob sent messengers unto Esau, in order to explain that Jacob had little to nothing. He was not set up as a nation. He was not a kingdom. He was just a family man who has just escaped the clutches of his father-in-law. And now it seems that he's on the run from his brother. So Jacob at this time was going through a very hard time. You understand? So Jacob was going through a struggle and has been going through a struggle for the last 14 years of his life under the servitude of Laban, the father-in-law of Jacob, the father of his wives. Now, he stole away with majority of Laban's cattle, and he stole away with his daughters and their servants. He snuck away out of Laban's house without his knowledge. And Laban chased him down. To pursue him for whatever reason. I guess he felt like he wanted to. Laban maybe wanted to kill Jacob for what he's done. But Jacob escaped that problem just to run into another problem, which was his brother was on his way to meet him. Edom was coming with about 400 men, looking like they was ready for battle, to descend upon the family of Jacob. In fear, Jacob called out to the Most High. To Allahi Abraham and Allahi Yishak or Isaac. He called out to the Most High because he was in fear that he would lose everything that he worked for. Because his brother was coming, in his mind, to kill him. Now this is in verse, according to when Jacob cried out to the Most High, is in verse 9 of chapter 32 of Genesis. In Hebrew, that would be Bereshit. Bereshit. In verse 9, it states, and Jacob said, "O God of my fathers, Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which said unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy," this is verse 10, "I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands." Why would Jacob say he is not worthy of all the mercy and all the truth that the God of his fathers have showed him? And what does that signify in dealing with the changing of his name? In Hebrew, name is Shem or Sim. But for argument's sake, we would say Shem. Shem means name, but not in the Western term that we think about it, as just a name, just something you call a person, place, or thing. No, a name in the Hebraic thought is the character of a person, place, or thing. So, as an example, we use Moses' name. In Exodus, the book of Exodus, in Hebrew that would be Shemot. Shemot. In the book of Exodus, there was a baby that was put into a carriage and sent to float down the river. This baby was found and drawn out of that river. And because of that event of being drawn out of something, or to draw out something, the name that was given to that baby was Mes. The Hebrews called him Mesa. Or in Yiddish, it would be Moshe. English, Moses. In Arabic, it would be Musa. This name means to draw out. But how did that name fit the character of that person, besides the event of its infancy? This baby that was drawn out of the river subsequently drew out the tribes of Israel from under the oppressor in Egypt. This person drew out water from a rock. So the name is the character of the person, place, or thing. You understand? So now going back to Jacob. Excuse me. Now going back to Jacob. In verse 9 of Bereshit, or what we know as Genesis, chapter 32, verse 9, Jacob says himself, I am not worthy of all this great, I'm not worthy of all the least of all the mercies in all the truth, which thou hast showed unto thy servant. Why would Jacob say he is not worthy of mercy and truth? What was about Jacob, the name, the character, which he felt he was not worthy of mercies and truth? What was his character? Because Shem means the character of the person, place, or thing. Majority of the nations, the names that they was called dictated the character of that nation or that area or those people. The land of Canaan was named after the Canaanite people. Mizraim was named after the people of Mizraim. That was their names. So their land was named after them or called after them. You understand? Ham. The name Ham means hot. The name Shem means character. The name Japheth means to enlarge. The name Noah means to give rest. You understand? So it's a character. Each name is associated with the character of person, place, or thing. That's in the Hebraic thought. Not in our Western thoughts now, not in our modern day thoughts. A name is just what it is called to identify what we see. We don't look at it as the character of. We call it a mirror because we see ourselves. That's the character of what we call it. We don't see it that way anymore. We say it's a mirror. Why is a mirror? Because you can see yourself in it. But can I see myself in a car window? Can I see myself in maybe a house window? If the sun shines right on the house and it might give off a reflection and I can see myself. Is that a mirror? Well, that's a mirror image. So a mirror is the character of. A mirror is not a mirror that's hanging in your bathroom or maybe in your closet. But a mirror, the character of a mirror is that you can see your reflection. Seeing your reflection is the mirror. That's the character of what you called it. Not what you see. If you can look in water and see yourself, then that's a mirror. Not a mirror image. You understand? See the difference in the Hebraic thought and then in the Western thought. Okay. Now back to Jacob and the name change to Israel. Now in Bereshit, or as we know it as Genesis, chapter 32, verse 9, Jacob says, I am not worthy of all mercies and all truth. Why would Jacob say that? What was the character? Since now we understand that the names are the characters of. That's what name means. So when you read the Torah Tanakh, you must understand that the names are the character of. It's not just a name. So the name is giving you a story. It's telling you something about the story. The name dictates the story. The story does not dictate the name. You understand? Now, Jacob's name means, the meaning of Jacob is deceive or deceitful. That is the meaning of Jacob's name. So if that's the meaning of his name, then that must be his character. Jacob must have been a deceiver. And as we understand the biblical text, that's exactly who Jacob was. He deceived his brother Esau and stole his birthright not once but twice. He deceived his father into acting like he was his brother. He deceived Laban by stealing away at night, taking all his cattle with a genetic trick, and then stole away with his daughters and their slaves. Laban caught up to him and said, "Why have you stolen my gods out of my house? You have stolen my daughters, you have stolen all my cattle. Now you will steal my gods even too?" Jacob says, "I have not stolen anything from you. I only took what was mine, what I was owed," not knowing that his wife had stole one of the gods. But Laban chased him down. And if he would have found one of them gods, what you think Laban was going to do to Jacob? But he did not find none of his gods. He sat and ate, kissed his daughters and his sons, his grandsons, and he went back home. And then chapter 32 starts with the angels of God meeting the deceiver. Let's not call Jacob Jacob anymore. We're going to call Jacob by his character. Deceiver, the deceitful. So the deceiver had met the angels of God, the messengers of God, in a place he named Mahanaim. And he tried to use these messengers to once again deceive his brother by trying to work on Esau's sympathy. This is what Jacob did, to try to deceive his brother into sympathizing with his struggle. We start at Bereshit, or as we know it is Genesis, chapter 32, verse 3. That's where we're going to start. And the deceiver, now we know is Jacob, and deceiver sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants and women servants. I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in his sight. And the messengers returned unto the deceiver, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee. And 400 men with him. So now Jacob's plan is not working out right. He figured he can cut Esau off by sending messengers up to him first and try to soften his heart so he won't murder him and his family for what he has done to him, deceived him for nothing. Esau has done nothing wrong to Jacob, but yet Jacob, being a deceiver, deceived his brother and his father. You understand? So now he's sending messengers to meet his brother to work on his brother's sympathy and empathy. And maybe Esau won't chop his head off and roll it down the sandy hill. But to his surprise, his messengers came back saying Esau is on his way with 400 men. So now Esau is greatly afraid. Continuing, verse 7 of Genesis chapter 32. And Jacob, or we know him as the deceiver, was greatly afraid and distressed. Now, we're not getting off point here. This whole chapter leads up to the understanding of the name change and why the deceiver changed his name unto Israel. And what does Israel mean, and what is the character of that name? You understand? So now we understand the character of the name Jacob and who Jacob was. He was a deceiver. He deceived everyone he came across. And now his brother, the one who he deceived, who has never deceived him, is on his way to meet him with 400 men. That doesn't look good for the deceiver. So now the deceiver is scared and in great distress. I would be too. Continuing at verse 7 of Genesis chapter 32. Then Jacob, or we know him as the deceiver, was greatly afraid and distressed. And he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come on one company and smites it, murder it, devour it, kill it all, then the other company which is left shall escape. He knew that one will be sacrificed to death so the other band can escape. This was the only plan that Jacob had. The deceiver had no other tricks under his sleeve. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't trick anybody. He couldn't say nothing tricky. He couldn't do nothing to turn the tides, to get it to go his way. He couldn't manipulate the situation to get it to go his way. He couldn't do it. His brother was on his way with 400 men. He was coming to kill him for what he has done. He has stolen his birthright. He took it from him. He acted like his brother. He kissed his father and said, I am Esau. He is a liar. Jacob was a liar, a deceiver. His mama was a deceiver as well, because she put him up to the deceit. But he was a deceiver from birth. He was named deceiver. For he took his arm out and grabbed his brother by the heel, as if he came out first. The deceiver. Now the deceiver is worried and scared, because all of his deceit is coming down upon his head and going to destroy his family and him. In verse 9 of Genesis, chapter 32, the deceiver calls out to the God of his fathers, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac. He says, I'm calling out to the God that said to me, return unto this country and I will give it to you. And I will deal well with thee. He called on that God. You said you would do me good. You told me to return to this place. And now my brother is descending on me with 400 men. What am I to do? I have separated my family and I sit here alone. I have done great deceit. Verse 10, I am not worthy of the least of all the mercy and of all the truth. For Jacob knew he was a deceiver and he was not worthy of nothing. He knew he was not worthy of anything, for he was a deceiver and he was a liar. But yet, he called out to the God of his fathers. Verse 11. The deceiver adds, deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, even though he know he has deceived him. He has stolen his birthright. He has taken everything that Esau had. His father loved him and was going to give him everything he had. And Jacob stole it twice. Twice he took it from him. Not once, but twice. He deceived his father into thinking that he was his brother. That is the most ultimate deceit ever. The most atrocious lie you can do is to impersonate somebody else to take their riches and their worth and their inheritance. Isn't that what we say the Ashkenazis have done to us? They have deceived the world and taken our birthright. They have claimed to be something we are. But if you understand the true name and the true character of the deceiver and the change that he made from being a deceiver unto being Israel, you would know that the people who call themselves Israel can keep that name, because that is not the name of Jacob. But we will get there. I promise. I promise you. Now, Jacob, the deceiver, as we know he is, the liar, is praying to the God of his fathers because his brother is coming to kill him. Genesis chapter 32, verse 11. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And then he reminded the God of his fathers. Remember, you said, verse 12, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So he reminded the Creator, you promised me something. You said it to me. I was a liar and I was a deceiver. Yet you promised me that you would do me good and bring me to a place of peace. Now look at me. I'm praying to you because someone is coming to kill me that I deceived. What shall I do now? This is what Jacob wondered within himself. For he know he is not worthy of mercy and truth, according to verse 10 of Genesis chapter 32. Jacob said, I am not worthy of all mercies and of all truth, because he know he is a liar and he is a deceiver. And his brother is coming to kill him righteously. For he has stolen his inheritance. He has lied unto his father. He has impersonated his brother and stolen his inheritance. And now his brother wants to kill him, and he is coming to kill him. But yet he remembered when the Creator said, I will bless you and do you good. Even in your deceit, even in your lies, I will still bless you and do you good. But Jacob stand there and the enemy is coming. His family is separated. He sits there alone. He said, if that is true, then get me out of this situation. Continuing. Now Laban was after the deceiver, because the deceiver deceived him. Even though Laban deceived Jacob, Jacob in turn deceived him again. That's why, according to the commandments, to the mitzvah, you should not take revenge. Because it do you no good. Definitely against your own people. And that was his father-in-law. So he had to respect him. But he deceived him. But even still, the God of Jacob's fathers intervened. Now this is in chapter 31 of Bereshit, or Genesis. Verse 24, God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Even though Jacob deceived him, his wife stole the gods out their father's house. He did some genetic trick to steal all his cattle and then stole off in the night with his servants, his daughters, and his cattle. Yet, God comes down and says, no. Hashem comes down and says, nah. Do not even speak good or bad against the deceiver, even though he has deceived you. Now, the deceiver prays to the Most High because of another one he has deceived. This one being his own brother. And his brother is coming to kill him. Now, we're going to go down a couple verses. This is chapter 32 of Bereshit, or as we know it as Genesis. Verse 24. Now the deceiver was left alone, and there wrestled a man. Now there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. So we see in this verse 24 that it says the deceiver sat alone. His family was separated and sent in two opposite directions. Esau was on his way to kill him with 400 men. He just escaped the clutches of his father-in-law, Laban. Now he sits and waits for his brother to kill his family and him. And he sits there alone. And he wrestles with himself. He wrestles with his fear. To verse 11, Jacob continues his cry. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. Jacob was scared out of his mind. He knew he could not play any old tricks on his brother anymore. His brother was not having it. He did it on Laban and he got away. But his brother knew his tricks. And he was sick of it. And he was going to come and put an end to the deceiver's deceit and his lies. And all that come from the deceiver. He was going to end it in bloodshed. And Jacob knew this. So he sat alone and he wrestled within himself until the breaking of day. And he would not let the man go. And the man touched the hollow of his thigh and knocked it out the socket. The man was himself wrestling with his own fears, his own lies, his own deceit, his own regret. Don't we all do that? Haven't we deceived? Haven't we lied? Haven't we snuck and got our way? Now those people are coming to collect. We knew we should have paid that bill. I knew I shouldn't have took that money. I knew I shouldn't have cheated on that person. I knew I've been a bad person. I've done bad things in my life. And I don't want to do those things anymore because it's catching up to me now. I got the police knocking on my door. I got brothers in the street that want to kill me because I done stole their stash. Because I done told something on them so I can get my way. And now they're coming to get me. The judge want me. The jail want me. The police want me. The gangs want me. My family ain't being bothered with me. They left me and went their own way. I'm sitting all alone because of all the things I've done to myself. For I've been a deceiver to everybody else, but have done nothing but deceive myself. But I want to change. I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to worry. I don't want to have this fear because of the deceit of myself. Because of what I've done to people, I do not want to walk around with this fear on my back that one day the person or the people that I have deceived will come back to get me. I don't want to be a deceiver. I don't want to be a liar. I don't want to be a drug dealer. I don't want to be a gang member. I don't want to be a prostitute. I don't want to be a whore. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a bad father. I don't want to be a bad mother. I don't want to be a lazy person. I don't want to do this anymore because it's coming back to me. The walls are closing in. I have no way out. I can't talk slick my way out of this. I can't help me. There's nobody I can reach out to. It's only me and God. And I have to make a decision. Jacob, the deceiver, had to make a decision. Is he going to continue to be a deceiver? And one day, the people that he deceived will take his head. Is he going to succumb to the fear of what he has done? Or is he going to rise up and lose that fear? Let's see what happened. Now, as he wrestled with this man, he said, "What is your name?" As he wrestled with this man. Now, we know name in the Hebraic thought means character, the character of. The name doesn't dictate the character dictates the name in Hebraic thought. In Western thought, they reverse the thinking process of it. You understand? So the deceiver asks himself, what is your character? And the man said, why you ask me my character? And he blessed him there. And he said, thy character shall be called no more deceiver. Thy character, thy shem, thy name shall be no more called deceiver. But Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. Now this is the meaning of the name that the text gives. The meaning, or the so-called meaning of Israel is to be a prince of God and men and prevail over all. Now, in Deuteronomy 28 states that people shall come to you whose language you do not understand. Now on your screen here, I have in the parentheses the name Yisrael in the Yiddish alphabet and language. this language here, this alphabet that you see, was created by Ashkenazi European so-called Jew from Germany. His name was Eleazar ben Juta. He created this language in the late 1800s. It is a comprisory of many different languages similar to English. It has Aramaic. They call these letters, but they're not. If you look at modern Aramaic, letter system doesn't look remotely anything like what you see on your screen here. Fact 1. Fact 2. The Yiddish language that you see on this screen, which spells out Yisrael, the little itty bitty letter in the front on your far right is a yod. Yod or yud. The next letter that looks like a W is a shin or sin, depending on the nukid or the dagesh that's under or over the alphabet. The next letter, which looks like a backwards R, is a resh, which is R. The next letter, which looks like a backwards N or an N, is an A or Aleph. The next letter to your far left, the last letter, because Hebrew is, or Yiddish is read from right to left. So the last letter is L or Lamed. So the letter here are, the little letter will be a Y. The next letter that looks like a W is an S. The next letter which looks like a backwards R is an R. The next letter which looks like an N is an A. The next letter is an L. So that's Y-S-R-A-L. If you just sound it out by the consonants alone, you would get Yisrael. Y-S-R-A-L. Yisrael. Now, I just told you that this particular alphabetical structure called modern Hebrew is not Hebrew at all. The first little letter, the Y, the Yod, the first letter on the far right, is a prefix of the Yiddish language. That prefix, a yod in front of the root word, conveys whatever the root word means plus there or he. So it would be their Prince God, or their Prince L, or he Prince L. So the first little letter looks like a semicolon is a prefix which means there or he. You understand? So the root of that word is not Yisrael. You got to take out the yod because that's a prefix. If you look it up in the Strong's Concordance, the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, you will find that the name Yisrael is actually a comprisory of two words. And those words are Sarah and El. So if you take out the yod, you would just get Sar-El. Let's see. So if you take out the Yod, you would get Sar-El. Let's see. Get the Yod out of there. Can't get the Yod out of there. Having our technical difficulties here. But if you get the Yod out of there, it'll be Sar-El or Sarai-El. So, why would Jacob change his name to Sarah and El and comprise it together to make Sar-El? That is the name of Jacob, Sar-El. That is the name. The true name of Israel is Sar-El. So, if the true name of Israel is Sar-El and not Yisrael, being that the Yod is prefix, which means he or there, as in T-H-E-I-R, there. There such and such. Not as in there as a place over there, but there as in people. There, people. In that nature. Now, what happened between Sarah and El for Jacob to come to the realization that in order for him to be blessed, in order for him to get through this situation, in order for him to get rid of the fear and the distress that was plaguing him, he had to change his character to Sarah and El, which became Sar-El. So when you say the Ashkenazis has taken our name and taken our birthright, they claim to be Israel. Jacob never changed his name or his character to Yisrael. His name and his character was Sar-El. Now, what happened between Sarah and El? That is the most important quest for all who consider themselves Israel or Israelites. This is a question for you. What happened between Sarah and El? What happened between Sarah and God that gave Jacob the revelation to change himself from a deceiver into something else? We know Sar. Now I still have the Yiddish alphabet, which constructs the name Yisrael here on your screen. Now, the little letter that looks like a semicolon next to the letter that looks like a W, Now the little letter on your far right that looks like a semicolon, you can take that out. That's not in the original name. Okay? You understand? Take that out. It's not there. You don't see it. Now you have the W and the backwards R. Don't look at the N and the thing that looks like a upside down G. And the backwards R right now. The little semicolon looking letter right there, which is a yod, that's not there. We know that does not belong in the word at all. That is a prefix. So you can understand what the context was trying to convey, but it's not a part of the name. Okay? You understand? All right. Now, Sar means prince. Sarah is the feminine of Sar. So that would be princess. Princess. Sarah means princess. Now, you have El, which means mighty. Mighty prince. Prince, mighty. Mighty prince. Yet, Jacob realized that he was a mighty prince. But how so? What happened between Sarah and God to give the deceiver the revelation that he was a mighty prince? Even though he was a liar, he was a deceiver, he was a cheat, he was a thief. He deceived everyone, but yet he sat alone as the enemy come down to rain punishment for his deceit. And he wrestled with himself, and he told himself that I am a mighty prince. Why? What happened between Sarah and El? What happened between Sarah and God? So as the scripture continues in verse 30 of Genesis chapter 30, after Jacob was given the name or the character that he shall be called, he asked again this man. In verse 29, what is your name? But this man would not give him his character. But he said, your character should be Sarael. You are no longer a deceiver, but you are now a mighty prince. But why? Why shall the liar, the thief, the cheat, the deceiver become a mighty prince to get all blessings and mercies and truth? A deceiver, a liar, a cheat. Even Jacob knew he did not deserve all that mercy and all that truth. This came out of the mouth of the deceiver himself. He knew he was a liar. He knew he was a cheat. He knew he was a thief. This is in verse 10 of Genesis, the same chapter, 32. Jacob said himself, verse 10, I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth. He knew he was a liar. He knew he was a cheat. He knew he genetically modified those animals just to steal off with Laban's cattle. He knew he stole his brother's birthright. He knew he imitated his brother and deceived his own father. But yet he wrestled with himself when his brother was coming to kill him and his family for what he has done to him, and he stands up on his own 2 feet after he done struggled with himself all night and says, I am a mighty prince. How so? How so? And what kind of God is the God of Jacob? To bless a thief, a deceiver, a liar, who steals people's stuff, their inheritance, their birthrights, their cattle, their daughters, their slaves, their possessions, and steal away in the darkness of the night. Yet the creator of heaven and earth still blesses him and says, you are a mighty prince. Who is the God of Jacob? And who is Sar-El? And why do you call yourself Sar-El or Israel? Do you know who you are? Do you know why you call yourself that? Do you know why the deceiver changed his character to mighty prince? What does Sarah and God have to do with the name of Israel? What happened? How did Jacob become a prince of God? So when we go and we come to, say, a Christian or even a Muslim, in which the Muslims are truly Jews, but that's another discussion for another time. But if we come to the Sunni Muslims or the Shiite Muslims, those who follow the Prophet Muhammad, and we say, I'm a Jew, what does that mean to them? See, the Muslims say, oh, you're a deceiver and you're a liar and you're a cheat. You Jews, you Jewish people, you children of Israel are liars and cheats and deceivers. But they are telling you Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. Moreover, he said, I am the Lord, Allahi Abraham, or the God of Abraham, Allahi Yishyak, or as we know it, the God of Isaac, Wallahi Yaakov, and the God of deceit. So he is also the God of the deceitful, the God of the thief, the God of the liar. And he is also known as Allahi Yisrael, the God of the God of Prince God. So what does that mean when you call yourself an Israelite? See, I am not an Israelite. I am a Sar-Elite. That is the true character of the deceiver, of those that have been deceived and those that have deceived. The character of those who has that character is Prince a mighty prince. But what does that say about your God? Jacob was a liar, a deceiver, a thief and a cheat. But yet, he was blessed. He was protected. And ultimately, he was redeemed.